It is Monday on Daily Delivery. Patrick Reusse joined me. I am Michael Rand. Hope you guys are doing well. Patrick, do you have an all right weekend?
Well, I'm very disappointed because the Amazon put up a Jack Reacher series. I'm a big Reacher fan from
Okay.
Lee Childs. I did not like short little Tom Cruise playing the 6'5" guy, but they put up a Reacher series. And I like the fact when they put up the whole series.
Yeah.
But the wife and I have already watched all 8 episodes in 3 nights, so now we're done. Now we
No.
got to find something else to watch. We got to when you get into one of those series, you should let it stretch out a little bit so you got some time to 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 have some goal thing to watch
Yes.
together, right?
Yes.
But we were pretty good. We did 2 episodes on Thursday, 2 episodes on Friday, but then Saturday, with nothing else to do, we watched the last 4 episodes. So that was a big disappointment of the weekend. So that we already blew up the whole Reacher series. So not too bad, by the way. Guy from Grand Forks, of all places,
Hey.
is the star. Big, burly, hard-chested guy. Looked like he might have played for the Sioux back when they were the Sioux, but I don't think he did. But anyway, that was my one disappointment of the weekend. So
Maybe I know him. That's my hometown, as you might know. So we'll maybe everybody there knows everybody else. So it's probably a common last name.
yes, I think he moved out when he was 10 or 12 or
Okay.
something.
Well,
but anyway, I looked him up.
he got out. Well,
He's been in a bunch of those action movies, but he was new to me because I don't watch that stuff. So anyway,
yeah,
all right.
That's a problem when you get into a series like that and you want to keep watching. That's what I appreciated about Ted Lasso, that they only put out one a week, because then I wouldn't. I mean, there's no other option unless you didn't catch up. Unless you started the series really late, you could. You had to wait for it.
Yes. I kind of like the one. The only trouble is when you're my age, now Ted Lasso, not a problem, but you in some of them you forget what happened last week.
You want to watch them all in a row, so you can do that.
Yeah. Yes.
So
anywho,
so this time last week, Patrick, you had a bold proclamation that you would be, I can't remember what the exact words were, but basically you'd be basically as surprised as anything if Harbaugh got the Vikings job, and you labeled it a ploy by Harbaugh and or his agent to try to get back to Michigan, get more money, and or get somewhere else. It looked like Harbaugh last week was trending towards being the coach, and then Wednesday comes around and the Vikings apparently say no thanks. So you were right. How do you feel about that?
I feel I was right for all the wrong reasons. I think Harbaugh really wanted the job. He wanted to go back to the NFL, win a Super Bowl. Thought there was a chance here to at least win the division, right? And if you get in the playoffs as a division winner, you get to play a home game, and then who knows what happens after that. He wanted the job more than they wanted him. We still have not figured out who contacted who. I guess the story out there is that Mensa, when somehow got word that Harbaugh was interested, probably he doesn't really have an official agent, but I think Brian Harlan helps him, and he also helps his brother John, and he got in, and he got here, and he wouldn't play their game. He to me, that's what happened. Is they were very impressed that this O'Connell had a 15-page thing that this is what I'm going to do, and Harbaugh, and I don't blame him. Harbaugh's thing was he walked in and he had no prepared documents or anything, and when you asked him what he was going to do, he would say, well, I'm going to do what I did in San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
And he was not going to play the nerdy. I saw that Ben Gessling's piece on Sunday said Mentz was going to ask the exact same questions that he did, when they did the search for Shanahan. He apparently did the groundwork for how we should interview these people, right? These are the topics we should hit, and they wanted full preparation to answer their, questions of what are you going to do? And I mean, what will you do if this situation faces? And it just seemed that I think Harbaugh thought that they wanted him, and they just saw Harbaugh as another candidate. And but what we discovered here is, once again, the national fellas went and ran with it. Floria and some other guys that went and ran with it. It's Harbaugh's job. Harbaugh's going to be the guy. Everybody just, the whole national media starts getting ahead of the story that it looks like it's, then
like a done deal. Yeah.
Harbaugh's coming to town to be anointed as the coach. And maybe he felt that way, but we once again let the national media carry the story here, and that kind of became the belief around here that Harbaugh would be the coach. But I don't know. I was always skeptical, and I think it's a good, it was. I don't think it was going to work with these guys. And the other thing is, Mike, did they wanted to pay as much money as he wanted? We don't have any idea. Did he really want 10 a year? If he wanted 10 a year, the Wilfs weren't going to pay it. And that's, they're still paying off Zimmer, and they're still paying off Spielman. But I just didn't think it was ever going to work, because, as again, Gessling's piece and a lot of other pieces now, you look at what Mensa said a week ago Thursday, and Jim Harbaugh is 180 degrees from what Mensa was describing as his coach, and I guess it was always a long shot. That said, the guy they're ending up with, you're throwing a dart at the board. He's gonna win the press conference. He's a 6'4" former basketball player, and he's a very impressive guy. And he looks like a football coach. And he's gonna win the day, and we're gonna all be optimistic, and then we'll find out. The one thing they got going for him is it looks like Green Bay's about to blow up.
Yes.
And the division reeks. So the other thing is this whole idea that O'Connell worked with Cousins his last year in Washington. Well, he was working with Cousins in a season in which it became obvious Washington didn't want to pay Cousins. Right?
Yes, he was a lame duck. It was his cousin's lame duck year.
Yeah, and it was pretty obvious throughout the season that it was his lame duck year, and he didn't have that good a year. And so it's they have this. They're going to all say what a great relationship they have, and and then we're supposed to believe all of it. That we'll find out what they're going to do with this guy or not. So they have cap problems, but I think there's other ways to solve their cap problems. The Packers have cap problems that are worse than the Vikings, because Vikings can get rid of Barr. They can get rid of, Daniel Hunter they can't bring him back, can they?
Yeah, that's the one I'm wondering about, because when we talked about that on Access Vikings with the fellas a few weeks ago, and we were talking about, who might they cut, and I said, I think they might. I'm not sure Hunter's back for sure. And they both gave me a look like, really? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if you bring him back after he played 6 games in 2 years.
And the deal he signed is huge, right? It's a huge amount of money they have to come up with to keep him, right?
Yeah, and it's like an $18 million roster bonus in like a month.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Are you going to give him $18 million in a month? I don't know. Play, God love him, he doesn't play. And there's other places to go. Harrison Smith, he's a decent player, good player, but he's not worth what he's making. And safeties to me aren't worth that kind of money. Now, I said this, I guess, last week, and I say it all the time. The thing, Mensa, I'm shortening the name, okay, here, just because I know that the Adolfo's in there too, but the thing he's going to do is be smart enough to spend the money on the 5 or 6 positions that really matter, and not because his coach likes some outside linebacker who never rushes the quarterback. when they paid Anthony Barr all that money, we thought, okay, well, they're going to do it different now. They're going to let him get to the quarterback some. They're going to bring him a lot, and what do you get, 2 sacks a year or something,
right.
3. So they're going to spend their money where it should be spent, and unlike Spielman, who spent it on Zim's favorite players and his favorite players, and I think that will be what he brings to the table more than anything, a nerd's view of where money should be spent, and that's analytic. I think that in the NFL that really works.
Take a playcation to Mystic Lake for 24/7 gaming, fun restaurants and bars, and luxurious hotel rooms. And join Club M to bask in the rewards. Follow the lights to Mystic Lake, where every day is play day.
Here's the thing about the coaching search too, before we move on to something else. I can't remember a time in Minnesota sports history when the big name, we had a chance to get the big name. Yep. The big name maybe wanted us, and we said, nah. No. So it kind of feels like when somebody wants us, we want them. And I can't decide if this is going to end up being a mistake or not. I think fit-wise, I think you're right. Harbaugh would have been a weird fit. I think he's certainly more accomplished than anybody else they had in the room. But it's foreign to me to get to that stage. We had Thibodeau, we had Tubby Smith talked his way in here. When someone big wants to come here, we usually say, "Yeah, come on in. We want you."
Yeah, and Tibbs, Tubby wanted here. He wanted wanted the soft landing. But Thibodeau, we went and got him. He was the hot product. I mean, that's number one example of my theory that with the Timberwolves is even when they do the right thing, it turns out to be the wrong thing. So we'll see if that holds up with this bunch or not. But how did they? I don't know how they let him get in the picture and make a big deal out of it. Why didn't they just say, "Nah, you're not what we're looking for"? What did they hope to discover? If they're saying that Mensa worked with them for 2 years and they're friends, which is BS. He was a manager, which is a glorified intern in the research department. You think Harbaugh's going down? Hey, Adolfo, you want to go out for dinner tonight?
Right.
So that was all hogwash. But how did they let him get in the picture? Why did they do that?
That was my question. They muddied up their whole process. Now O'Connell feels like a second choice when if they would have just hired him all along, it would have been fine, right? If they would have just said O'Connell's our guy, we're going to interview our original list of 8. Introducing Harbaugh is the thing that kind of made the search feel like a letdown to some people.
Yeah. Yes, that's to some people, and I have no problem with O'Connell, and I have no with not hiring Harbaugh, but I wanted him because he's Harbaugh and he'd stir things up, and we'd all in his press conference and we'd have something to write about. I'm always rooting for the story, but I'm sure there's other people who say, "Hey, why don't we have a coach that I've heard of?" And he wanted to come here. And then there's also the anti-Harbaugh crew who would have just been mortified that they ended up with him because he doesn't believe in all the new nonsense that people are talking about. So, it was a strange odyssey of and let me once again emphasize this. A lot of the information we're getting from the national guys is hogwash coming from other people, and but we can't in this era of so much media and instant information. We can't be left behind. So then when we're reading that this Mike Florio is saying this, we take it as actuality instead of where's he getting his information from? So anyway, it's the days of waiting for the story to flesh itself out because you might be getting hogwash from various sources that just doesn't work anymore. You got to, pretty soon the mainstream media gets carried away with the guys who are listening to people with a strong agenda. So anyway.
Yes. Well, since we mentioned the Wolves, maybe we should talk Timberwolves for a little bit. I want to get to a little bit of baseball talk too, and maybe some Olympics before we go. Wolves win again yesterday. They're in that kind of nice part of their schedule. We get to play, I think they had 2 against Detroit, and I think we got 2 now against the Kings, if I'm not mistaken.
Sacramento, they're going to California for a couple. And what do they got? They got those 2. And is there one more before the All-Star break or not? I'm not. There's 2 in Sacramento for sure. But then when they come out of the All-Star break next weekend, or 2 weekends. So yeah, they got a bunch of games, right? Yeah. The All-Star. I keep thinking that the Super Bowl was yesterday, but it's not. My calendar's all messed up. But yeah, they got 4 or 5 games before the All-Star break. But they did not play yesterday, and Vanderbilt looked like he got banged up a little bit, and Naz Reid, who's not playing as well as I thought he might, and then Beverly did something again, right? I mean, yesterday games, but that said, this is an interesting crew. Terry Kunze's my guy. Terry Kunze played basketball, was a star at Duluth Central. He's pushing 80 now, but the guy watches more basketball and studies more basketball. His life is sitting in front of a 65-inch television and watching basketball games as a coach. He's a very analytical guy. And who right now for about the last 3 hasn't been good? Edwards. Yeah. And Terry had a very interesting comment to me, and I'm thinking about it. He says, every time he shoots, I think he's going to miss. Huh. So when he's throwing up the threes, his discipline on shots, I think ever since that game when he got his 40 and he went 5 for 5 in the first quarter and stuff. Yep. He thinks he's a 3-point a gunner, and he's not a 3-point gunner. He's a guy that, when it's there, take it. And but he's much more effective going to the basket and, going in and resounding dunks, going to the basket. And they've done this now because Cat's been great and Vanderbilt's been a phenomenon as far as, just a rebounder and a work harder guy and scoring points just through effort. But he's got to get back in the program. I think he's got to get back into you're part of the, he was the guy telling Cat, 6 weeks ago that, you gotta remember you have your teammates and stuff like this. Well, I think Edwards got to remember he has his teammates too. That said, getting Russell back, I never thought I'd say this, but I would, certainly enjoy that, the way he's been playing this year compared to what he did in the past. He's been more engaged. There's no doubt that the engagement level of this team is higher than it's. I hate that word, but I don't know a better one to use. But the engagement these guys believe in what Finch is doing, and they believe in themselves to a degree. It's just it's a completely different vibe, and they're going to be in the play down. But it would be nice if they finish 6th, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, it's going to be, Denver, and I still feel like the Lakers might have a run in them at some point, even though every evidence to the contrary says they won't. Clippers get healthy at some point. You never know. But yeah, I mean, finishing in the top 10 feels like it's a foregone conclusion. Finishing in the top 8 feels like it's certainly within their reach. Top 6 is there potentially. I mean, trade deadlines in a few days. Be interesting to see if they do anything there, because I don't think they're going to you're in this position now where you're finally good or improving, and you don't want to sell out to be the 6th seed and then hurt your chances of being competitive in years to come. But you also don't want to sell yourself short and not have any chance in the playoffs, because what, you get to the playoffs, if you're the 6th seed, you might wind up playing Memphis, which is a nice story, but feels like a team that could be ripe for an upset, things like that. So it's a little bit more wide open outside the top 2 in the West than it has been for a long time.
Marcus Smart is the rumor that they might be interested in. I don't know. He's not shooting worth a damn this year. He's another great defender, I guess.
Yes.
He's a terrific defender, big, strong guy. And, but I don't know. I don't want, you got to take Beasley off my hands, don't you? If you're going to give me Marcus Smart. And then what else do you have to give them? You don't want to give up another number 1, do you? For goodness sakes.
You've already done enough of that. I don't know.
I would imagine to get him, you might have to give him McDaniel, huh?
Yeah, maybe. That seems like seems like a lot to, I don't know. I haven't looked at what Smart's contract is.
Big. He's got 3 years. He signed one last year, and it's pretty big. It's a 4-year deal. So I think he's got 3 left. They're counting this year. So
it would kind of match Beasley's years at least then.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to, they'd have to take Beasley off my hands if you gave me Marcus, if I move Marcus Smart. So, and that's probably a deal killer, don't you think? But if you have both him and Beasley, that just means even less minutes for Beasley, right? And Beasley's got to play 20 just to make some shots, right? So,
right. And he made some yesterday, but he's he's a shooter. He's very streaky with it, and that's just kind of how shooters like that are. But I'm trying to figure out Marcus Smart and the fit, but maybe it works. Maybe he's kind of like that defensive presence on the second unit, could close some games, but maybe it's insurance against D'Lo injury. I don't know, but that seems like an odd fit to me a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it's going to happen. I don't know. There's I got a hunch it's going to be more expendable veteran. How about Cleveland? The old dead contract is still valuable in the NBA, though. Huh? Cleveland gets LeVert by giving up the expiring contract of Ricky Rubio yesterday. So
yes, he was hurt. He was out for the year, right? Yeah.
The NFL salary cap is kind of complicated, but you need, where you really need the Harvard mathematicians is the NBA salary cap.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. I have no idea what, how all this stuff works. But, what's funny, though, you mentioned the Lakers. How much trouble are they in future-wise?
Yeah. I mean, Westbrook's contract is ridiculous, right?
Yeah, I mean, all these old guys who aren't what they used to be. Even LeBron hasn't. What's with LeBron? How come he's never playing? What's wrong with him? I mean, it's almost like they're resting him. He's still the all-star captain, but he never plays.
Right. And Davis hasn't been quite what they thought he would be, I think, either.
He's had, and he doesn't play. That's, number one thing that drives me crazy about the NBA. Okay, I'm going to the game tonight. Who's going to play?
Right.
Who's going to agree to play tonight? Now the rumor is the Nets want to trade Harden, or Harden wants out or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
these old super teams, they're not doing what they used to.
No, and the Nets, one of them's crazy, Irvin,
right.
Harden is, now back to shooting it 30 times a game, and then Durant never plays either. So, putting the super teams together is not. Hey, I want to go back to one thing. I was having lunch with my son who brought this up Saturday. There's a Sean McVay rumor that he's going to win the Super Bowl and go to TV for 5 years. Did you see that one?
No, I hadn't seen that one. Okay.
Well, you know what?
Huh.
That house of cards is going to come tumbling down if they do win the Super Bowl. Whether they do or not, they have no draft choices. They're way over the salary cap.
Yeah.
They brought in all these guys, and I don't know the guy. I don't know, but it looks to me like there might be. I mean, he's the guy that you had to have him be in the same meeting room with to get a coaching job in the NFL right now.
Yes.
Right now, he's the guy. If you're near, well, he looks so crafty to me. He might leave this mess in somebody else's hands and go spend 5 years on TV and then come back for twice as much money to save some franchise.
Yeah.
Look out! When I heard it at first, it seemed absurd, and then Chris and I were talking about this Saturday, and he said he was talking about what a mess they're going to have there. They don't have a draft choice for 5 years, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, from the Stafford trades, right? And
all kinds of trades.
Yeah,
Von
Miller. Yeah,
like that. And even before they got Stafford, they'd given up a bunch of draft choices, and so I heard that one, and I said, he wouldn't go to TV. Blah blah blah. Well, I don't know. That maybe there's another year there of being really good before the cap absolutely kills them. But they don't have any draft choices. They don't have anything. They have gone all in to win this one, and which, by the way, would be their only their second NFL title in LA as the Rams, and the previous was in 1951, so they can go all in. But anyway, I mean, there's something that you heard. Just I think that was for you too, and Pro Football Talk. But I started thinking about it. I wonder if it might happen. If he wins, he might walk.
Yeah, that'd be something, because he's still only 36, 40? 37 years old. Yeah, not whatever that old.
He is. No, but if he does that, then he is the sneakiest son of a gun that ever lived. Because he knows that he's an ego large enough to not to want to rebuild when this whole house of cards comes crashing down on him. So
don't put those losses on my career record.
No, Mike Krzyzewski, I got a bad back. Get me out of here. Mistakes.
Right.
I want back surgery. Somebody hit me in the back so I can have surgery and don't have to take. And by the way, poor now deceased Pete Gaudette can have all those losses. Don't get me started on that fraud.
Oh yeah.
If I'd rather have Duke lose than China in a Olympic events, or Russia.
Yeah, no love lost there for me there. Patrick, before we got a few minutes left, let me read you a quote from or tweet from Maury Brown, covers MLB for Forbes, I believe now. Said, in speaking with several players, I don't think it can be underestimated just how much dislike the collective body of the union membership has for Rob Manfred. Obviously, we're talking about Major League Baseball now. Quote, he has galvanized us in ways he can't imagine, said one player. He underestimates how unified we are in this moment. Baseball still no closer to ending their lockout, which was instituted by the owners. Owners said, let's do mediation. Players said, nah, how about we just keep talking this out? Just a continuation of this mess, Patrick. And it's baseball, just every day that goes by and they're not in the public eye in a good way, it's just another day where I care less and less about baseball.
Yeah, it's there's no doubt about it. My dear friend Mark Wicker out at Orange County has announced his retirement the other day, and I was when you read his going away column, which was great because he wrote about all the stories he'd like to read, but then his last line was, "But I won't be writing them because this was my last column at the blah blah blah." That was his send off to himself, but he has that stat in there: 48 of the 50 top rated network shows in 2021 were NFL games.
Sure.
And he basically to Manfred, look at this, Manfred, and look where you are as a sport attraction in the United States, in this country, and they are operating as if this is, the money's going to keep rolling in. How long is TV going to keep giving them big national contracts when nobody watches their games?
Right.
I mean, and Manfred is a dummy, and he wants 7 teams in each league and the playoffs and all this stupid. But what do the players want? They don't like Manfred. Well, what do they want?
I think they want to make more money. They want to make more money earlier in their careers. That's the big thing, I think.
Yeah, well, okay, maybe, but why doesn't I don't know if this message is being. Here's ownership's biggest problem. They can't tell the truth. The truth being, we are in desperate straits here.
Yeah,
we don't know how long this money is going to last. Our sport is dying on the vine at the major league level because nobody. And by the way, we're idiots because we're giving 40-year-old pitchers like Max Scherzer ungodly amounts of money. But I'm not a Manfred guy at all. But right. I don't know what the play. There's no reality with the players of how much trouble the game's in.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
And there's no bigger baseball guy than me for decades.
Sure.
And there were times this fall that I turned off the World Series game in the 3rd inning because I couldn't stand it anymore and watched some show for an hour and came back and it was the 5th inning.
Yes.
It's the nerds have killed baseball. It's not just Manfred. I'm anti-Manfred like everybody else because I don't think he likes baseball. But the players, okay, what do you want that works? What do you want? I mean, it is stupid, some of the things. Oh, owners, if you agree to our offer, we'll let you have a DH in the National League, or we'll continue to put a guy on second base in the 10th inning. The carrots that they're offering are not anything. But I don't know what they want either as a settlement because, as you say, they want a minimum to be 800,000. Well, here's the problem with that is they're having 70 guys a year go on and off their major league rosters. That's again the analysts doing that. If I were going to be in baseball, I would have you can only have 45 players play for you in a season.
Yeah.
Something like that. I would have some rules that end this madness of changing the rosters, willy-nilly.
Bringing up relievers for 2 days and then burning them. And
not pitch and position play, it's just this roster chaos that has been implemented. Here's the stat I always use, Mike. 66 pitchers in a 6-game World Series.
Yes.
A pox on your house. A pox on your house. Go to hell. Fall, collapse, disappear, become a secondary to soccer as a U.S. attraction. If you're going to be that stupid to provide that and think you're providing entertainment. Okay. A starting pitcher in the World Series goes through 2 innings, gives up 1 hit. He's gone. We got to get somebody else in here. We got to use 6 more pitchers. It's idiotic what the game has become. It's the nerds who have done it. And, here's the problem, Mike. There's a lockout in baseball and a newspaper like the Star Tribune, and we certainly aren't the end all, but even ESPN, we got 4 graphs on it every 4 days, right?
I know.
I mean, it's not like, it's an inside page 7 5-graph item that they aren't getting along with each other. The players management, I think, probably knows but can't say it. The players have no appreciation for how much trouble the game's in.
Yeah.
So I cannot say just give in to their demands and keep operating like you are operating. They're also appreciate the fact you're the only sport without a salary cap. They should appreciate the fact they don't have a salary cap. And maybe the solution is to not have a season.
Yeah, that'd be something.
Yeah, well, I mean, to not have to do what the NHL did in 2004, 2005, not have a season. Now, do you miss us now?
Right. The problem with that is then you're burning. I mean, these minor league guys haven't played in forever.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of problems. But what I'm saying is, if they come back with agreement and no solutions for the way the game is being played, you're running your head into the wall. It's a crisis.
Yeah.
It's a crisis, and they don't, as I said, the owners can't admit it and the players don't want to believe it, but it's a crisis. Nobody cares.
Patrick,
what?
I knew I could get you going if I brought that. I knew I could get you going on baseball if I brought that up. I'm sorry to get you going on baseball again.
No, it's fine. It's one reason I've been doing this for 100 years is to recognize stupidity when I see it.
Yes,
this is as stupid as it gets right now. That's people want to know why I had that little condo down in Florida and I sold it. I'm sitting there freezing to death. Yes, but I now hate baseball. So why do I want to be down there? I hate what they're doing to themselves.
Yes.
So the hell with them. I'm not going to spring training. I don't care if they have it. The hell with them. I'm done with them.
Wow.
Until they figure out their game. Until they figure out that pitchers we should not have a season when we use 40 pitchers and we think that a good start is 2 1/3 innings, and we don't value a guy like Jose Barrios who's available every day, because if we don't have him face the hitters the third time through the order, then it's man, they drive me nuts. I can't stand them. But
on that note, we're about done.
Olympics. We should mention the Olympics.
I was going to say I've not watched. I haven't watched a single bit of it yet, but I'm going to. But I'm having a hard time getting into this one right now.
It's China, 14-hour difference. So far, they've walked into the events. I mean, they've just kind of they don't give you a big dramatic first weekend or anything, but I gotta think they're gonna have an all-time low ratings with the China thing and the time difference. And there's one thing of being 6 or 7 hours difference and trying to save everything for prime time. But when it happened yesterday, I covered the Sydney Olympics, and I loved Sydney. I loved Australia, but I hated covering those Olympics because you're talking about stuff that happened yesterday. I mean, a day and a half ago. There were times when I'd do my afternoon radio hit at 7 o'clock in the morning. Back in my radio hit was at 7 something in the morning back in the Twin Cities, and I was finished with an event that I was then going to write about for the next day's paper. That drove me nuts.
That's crazy. Yeah,
So, and I know the paper, we got to do the whole online thing now, and that's probably more important than it's obviously way more important than it was 22 years ago. But I don't know. I'm not into it. When you cover them, I can tell you this: you think there's nothing else going on in the planet, and
sure,
everybody's focused in on it. But right now, people are more worried about the Vikings' new coach and the Gopher. Whatever's going on with the Gophers and the Timberwolves and everything else. I don't think people. I think the Olympics are in as much trouble as baseball. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right.
All right, you got me,
sir. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Okay, goodbye.